This is big breaking news. Over 1,500 National Guard troops have been deployed. And at the same time, we have the National Guard doing major radiological drills inside the U.S., inside major cities, and at major football stadiums. All right, the National Guard are doing these two things right now, and we need to be watching because there are a lot of moving parts going on behind the scenes right now. A lot of things are going on, and we could see things pop off. All right, we need to be ready for one of these events to happen, because if something happens inside the U.S., we could see lockdown situations, lockdown scenarios, stay-at-home orders, and be forced to not leave our homes, especially if there's a chemical or radiological disaster that they are preparing for. All right, so let's dive into this news here. All right, we have 1,500 National Guard troops being deployed, and they're actually being deployed overseas. Surprisingly enough, National Guard troops that are supposed to be protecting the United States homeland, 1,500, this is a lot of troops, are actually being deployed overseas right now in a new operation. And we have National Guard troops preparing inside the U.S. for something to happen as well. All right, so the first story here is that the National Guard is doing a radiological training at a Detroit stadium, a Detroit NFL football stadium. They're doing radiological training, and they have the full test, the full force of the National Guard and local law enforcement at the stadium in Detroit. You can see here it says the National Guard hosted different weapons of mass destruction exercises over the week, hoping to address potential threats at large-scale events. With events like NFL Draft and Motor City 2024 coming to the city of Detroit, law enforcement agencies are training so they can keep the community safe. They said, quote, "We're trying to make sure that we're circulating amongst the different regions so that we can offer this experience to their first responders and so that we can train with them." All right, that's what the National Guard is saying. They also said one of these trainings took place in Detroit, where first responders got the chance to work on everything from communication to detecting and locating potential threats. It says, "We took our radiation equipment, which is in the backpack I'm wearing, and we split up into search groups, and we searched the parking garage," said Billy Kedelar. Quote, "And then from there we located our radiation source and then tried to pinpoint it in the vehicle it was located in." All right, so, and they're saying this doesn't indicate a immediate threat, and it doesn't mean you won't be safe. They're saying that this is just a training exercise. All right, and they're saying that they're expecting 300,000 people to be here for the NFL in the coming weeks. All right, 300,000 people going to Ford Stadium and around it and in Detroit. All right, so that's what the National Guard is preparing for domestically right now. Radiation, radiological disasters potentially, and they're even saying that they're doing drills for radiological material to be inside of a car, potentially in a parking garage, something like that. They didn't give the full details on the training, but they have been doing this all over the country, multiple different stadiums. I've been covering this, how they have been going stadium to stadium. They're doing one in Iowa a few months ago as well, a major stadium there. And now they're doing it in Detroit right before the NFL and these Motor City events that are coming soon. We also have over 1,500 National Guard troops being deployed as well right now, and they're going overseas, right? So this is kind of a major deployment, and they're saying that this is one of the biggest deployments that they've had since 2008. All right, so you can see here the New Jersey National Guard deploys over 1,500 soldiers in Operation, quote, Inherent Resolve. All right, and they're saying it's their largest deployment since 2008, and they're deploying 1,500 members of the 44th Infantry Brigade combat team, and they're deploying to the Middle East as part of Operation Inherent Resolve. and they're going to be in parts of Iraq and Syria. All right, so this is crazy. And they're saying, according to the National Department of Defense, this is a, quote, whole of coalition governmental action to increase regional stability. All right, that's what they're calling this. And they're sending 1,500 National Guard troops over there as well. That's a big deployment even for the normal military. And these are domestic troops that we need here for these domestic events that happen here, right? Why isn't the National Guard at the border? Why isn't the National Guard at the border, right? That's what I want to know. The National Guard should be protecting our country domestically, and now they're being used as a military force as well and being sent overseas to Iraq and Syria. And actually just today in Iraq, a few hours ago, this is a big development as well, we had Iran that launched missiles into northern Iraq and Syria. And these missiles landed right near a U.S. base in Iraq. The U.S. has multiple bases in Iraq, and they have been under threat and under attack recently, as well as things are heating up with Israel and Iran. All right, this is another war that the U.S. is potentially going to get dragged into. All right, and why would we send our National Guard troops over here in the middle of this battle zone for them to potentially be injured and be hurt if these bases come under attack? All right, I'm not sure why we have all these U.S. troops in Iraq still, and now we're sending even more. All right, so this is a major development, especially on top of what happened earlier today as well with these U.S. ships that are getting attacked as well. If you didn't see my video from earlier today, go check that video out. U.S. ships are under attack. Flights have been grounded. All right, highways are being closed. Shelves are empty. There's a whole lot of other chaos going on as well, and they are bringing us closer to World War III every single day. World War III is getting closer every single day, and Iran has invested heavily into their drone technology and their cyber capabilities. Okay, so we could see major cyber attacks unleashed on the U.S. grid as well, and on the U.S. supply chain, on the U.S. banking sector. So make sure you are getting prepared. The National Guard is doing big moves domestically and internationally as well, so we could see something pop off. Make sure that you have these survival gear, the survival equipment. All right, things that I use are carbon filters, HEPA filters that will capture a lot of the particulate, not all of it, but it will capture some of the particulate and dust that is released in the air if there's some kind of event that happens as well. All right, I also use nascent iodine. You can use potassium iodide as well, which is a pill form, but I like nascent iodine, which is elemental iodine that your body could readily absorb, and you can get high doses of it to prevent your body from absorbing radioactive iodine and having thyroid issues during one of these events that could pop off. Right, that's just what I have in my preps and what I use. And you can also use this is what I use as well, iodine, to brush your teeth sometimes, right? Because don't want to have this fluoride in your toothpaste. It binds to your teeth. It's not good for your teeth, and it's a heavy metal that gets stuck inside your body. All right, so iodine as well is great for toothpaste, and it's also good for these events that could pop off very soon as well. All right, so make sure you are getting ready. Make sure you are getting out in the country and away from these major cities, these major areas, because that's where it's going to happen, where there's a major concentration of people. So it's a big event. And then in the aftermath of that, we could have lockdowns. We could have restrictions, travel restrictions. We could have evacuations of certain areas could be deemed unlivable. Look at what happened to East Palestine. This giant ecological disaster happened there, and a whole portion of it is unlivable. There are people that their yards are just this sludge, this chemical waste sludge, and it's unlivable, and they've had to move their families. There's a lot of people that couldn't leave, but This could happen as well if there's one of these radiological disasters in one of these regions, and we could see lockdowns, we could see shortages, and people panic buying in the aftermath of this as well, going to get the toilet paper, going to get whatever's left on the shelf, scrounging for it. People are going to do that once they read on the news that something happened potentially at a NFL game or something. I'm not saying that's going to happen. There's no immediate threat to that. That's not what they're saying, but they are getting prepared for it and ready for it, so you should too. All right, so please hit it up for me down there. Go watch my video from earlier today. All right, big news going on. I'll link that down below for you. And I hope you're getting prepped, getting ready. Hope you're staying warm. All right, with all this cold weather. All right, you need a generator. You need to have some kind of backup heat source, propane generator, gas generator, solar, something like that, to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your animals as well. I have chicks over here chirping in the back. They have a heat lamp on, and if the power went out, they would not last long at all. All right, so I have a generator right here that I've lived off of for years, and it has thousands and thousands of hours on it. All right, so make sure you have these preps, make sure you're ready, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.